I see a couple. Let oh, that's quite.
What was that? What? I've never. Okay, I'm just gonna say it says let Heather finally take power, and I don't know what you think. I've always had power.
Done.
Yeah, you saw her
Always.
dominate that box.
Finally
Into-
take power. No, I've always had power. People just give it to me, and sometimes I use it.
I'd actually like to do this one.
Okay.
Because I'm fascinated to learn more about Carrie, because I don't know you that well. And the more stories I hear from you, the more I would enjoy it. And if you would like, one of us can take over driving if you want to talk. It's not, you don't have to tell a lot, but I'm going to ask you a question about PlayFrame.
Okay.
Okay. So the challenge is, can Carrie talk about her favorite PlayFrame bit that she's been an editor for?
Oh no. You want me to remember the past?
Can Carrie talk about the most recent PlayFrame bits?
Oh my goodness. So it's really old actually, but one of the two Dans who does, how much context do I need to give? My husband does most of the videos on PlayFrame. I guess all of them. And then on Sundays, he and I, we release videos with him and I. And then Saturdays, it's him and another person whose name is also Dan. So Daniel and Dan. I don't remember which of the two of them it was, but they often play Dark Souls together. It's amazing. I enjoy it very much. One of the two of them kept on saying that they were making their way. And it happened so many times that I eventually put in the Michelle Branch, like, da-da-da-da-da-da. That's not the right tune, but you know, that rhythm.
Okay.
Yeah.
For making my way downtown, faces past.
Oh yeah.
Walking fast, faces past, and I'm homebound. That was
Yeah.
one of my favorite bits. And it was one of the first ones I did. Yeah, 1,000 Miles. That's the song. There have been quite a few in the more recently in the what's it called? Psychonauts 2 playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
I managed to use some of the in-game transition screens to make my own transition wipes, and I felt very proud of myself for that.
Ooh,
damn, nice.
Yes, I like that.
I was doing things I know how to do in Photoshop, but in Adobe Premiere to make a video into an alpha channel.
That's
and
super
that
cool.
Was fun. Yeah.
Do you find that that's like getting it when you have the opportunity to do things like that? Is that like, this is my opportunity to leave a mark, to put my thumbprint on this thing, to be like, hey, look at what I'm doing now?
A little. It's usually like I have an idea for something that I think will be very funny, and I want to see Daniel and everyone else's reaction to it.
Right.
So it's not exactly like I'm going to put my flavor on it. It's just like, oh man,
you're spreading a little icing on the joke, or you're like,
sweetening it.
This is a funny thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do the same thing with mail time.
Yeah, when I edit mail time, if I put a joke in there, it's not because I'm like, haha, I'm a thumbprint in my thing. It's like, this is pretty funny.
Yeah, or like, this is a weird, awkward pause, and I also have something funny I could say here. Let's make it sound like they were laughing at what I wrote on the screen, and people won't think about it too hard. That's all editing is lots of little lies, but yeah.
Blandishments. Little blandishments of the truth.
Yeah, a little tightening up so you sound like a little smarter, a little extra goofing. So it's like, yes, I am exactly always that funny in real life.
On my content, it's usually like the videos that I'm in, it's usually me taking out places where I sound meaner than I meant to. There's a lot of that.
Good stuff.
I like that. I like that. Oh no, that was real mean. I can go back in time and fix that.
I can just cut that whole segment out.
Do I sound like that? Not anymore. I don't.
Did I do? I like doing. There's been some stuff I've edited where there's just all these real weird pauses the person has, but when you take them out, the sentence sounds really smooth.
Mm-hmm.
And I always feel like I'm doing some sort of magic stitching when I can do that.
That was my like main thing for several years, working with a different YouTube channel that I don't want to talk about. So, but that was what I did with Daniel's audio, is like cut out all of his flubs and all of his rereads. And he regularly, when he records, stops mid-sentence if a word isn't coming out right and just repeats the sentence over again.
Mhm.
So like pretty normal, but it means you've got like a 25-minute long piece of audio that you're cutting down to 8 minutes, and you're not removing content, you're just removing places and pauses where things didn't come out right.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
really,
like if you were to edit together all of the pausing that got taken out, because I know some people were like, "Oh, I'd release the unedited cut," and like it'd just be a lot of silences.
Mhm.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You sure you just want silence? I can give you that without giving you a special edited piece of content.
Yeah. Yeah. But
I struggle with editing myself. I find it's too much scrutiny and I wish somebody else would do it. But do you enjoy being able to sort of polish yourself into the least mean version of yourself that you can be?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's I think I saw somebody in chat say something like, "Oh, please, I need that for my everyday life," or something like that. And I'm like, "Yeah, I would love that too." Oh, good. One of my cats is messing with the background. Good.
It would be intoxicating to a cat if you had a. It just seems like,
It's kind
I
of
mean, because it looks like
sandwiched-
you're sitting inside a jellyfish, you know?
Yeah. It's sort
Yeah.
of sandwiched between two layers of sheer curtains, but I have caught one of them sitting between the sheer curtains chewing on the fibers already. So yeah, that's definitely going to happen.
That's an origin story of some kind.
I can't even tell. Oh, it's Prinny. Okay. It's Prinny back there.
I did?
Hang on. Just keep scratching. Yeah, right there.
Okay.
And we're done.
Okay.
But yeah, like editing myself doesn't bother me as much as it did when I first started. Kind of like
Having to
hearing
face yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It also, I think, improves my like self-awareness, I guess.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Because I'm a little bit more aware of how certain tones come out.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'm not always good at catching it, but it can be really easy to like hit a tone that sounds super bossy and unpleasant to me. And
Yeah, you notice your habits. You notice your
Yeah.
tendencies. Yeah.
Whenever I watch Checkpoint, because Heather will be like, "Oh, Checkpoint's done." Like, cool. So we sit down and she's like, "Watch it." And I'm like, "I want to watch it." So we sit down and watch it. And every so often, it's like, "Oh, I shouldn't have done that," or "Oh, I did." Oh, thank you.
I can't cut out. It's harder to cut out stuff in Checkpoint when you're doing it all in one read.
Yeah.
But I do cut out like
Yeah.
certain mouth clicks sounds sometimes that get put in there because I'm like, oh, I can remove that. No one will notice.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
but there are moments of like, "Oh, I read that. I was reading that way too fast, wasn't I?" And that was when I first started doing Checkpoint. Graham was like, "You have to slow down. You have to go slower than you think that anyone ever wants to listen to you talk." I'm like,
Mhm.
"Really?" And he's like, "Just trust me on this." And so I would slow down. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes I get a roll going, and I'm like, it's all coming out of me really good, but I want the energy there to do that, and it's complicated. But yeah, whenever we sit down to do a thing, Heather's like, "You hear that in your voice? You hear that in your voice?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's a problem. That's a problem."
I can do that to Veej. I thankfully have never really had to edit something that I myself am in because
Right.
I know Corey's had to put up with that, and sometimes she'll tell me, she's like, you do this thing, and I'm like, cool. You taking that all out? Great, awesome. I'll maybe listen to it in like 2 years when I forget.
I did have to like try and retrain my S's to be less sibilant.
Mm.
Either way you say that word, I don't know the right way, but
It's the B's first, yeah, sibilant.
sibilant. Okay, yeah. So if you say Stan seasoned the salad with salt, and you use that as your like training phrase to keep your tongue, instead of letting the tip of your tongue touch the back of your teeth when you say an S, you take it down and it goes so.
Kind of between the teeth.
Yeah, like
Interesting.
like the tip of my tongue hits the back of my bottom teeth when I'm saying
Oh.
S's in a way that doesn't make the microphone die.
Yeah.
So we get to take the de-esser off my audio, which is nice.
There you go.
Yeah. I just learned about some of that stuff recently because I had to look up how mixing boards worked and like what like all the little compressors and things did, and I was like, okay, I fixed it, and I did like the complete opposite of what I was supposed to do, so I like made everything not work.